curious, I mean, for you personally, what are some of the kind of leadership lessons that you've accumulated over the years? And the fact that you're this open learner and you know, cherishing somebody like Jim who's similar, you're amenable to that. So I don't know, it'd be interesting for us to hear just, you know, a little bit about maybe some of the key learnings for you that you've accumulated in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's not a day that goes by that something new doesn't emerge and something to learn from. I think Jim probably taught me 3 things yesterday, and 2 of them were after 9 o'clock at night. So, I mean, jokes aside, it absolutely, it's building and scaling a business like this is incredibly humbling because there's simply so much that you don't know, and because of the nature of how the company's been built, there are so many mistakes that are necessary as part of the growth process. And key for us, I mean, the reason we're sitting here today is the ability to recognize where things aren't right and the ability to adjust. So if the way that I originally envisioned the business, or the way that I originally sort of sold the business as we're looking for partners, investors, was the same today as it was 9-10 years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here. So I say to my wife all the time, one of the most important things I think for me is to remain idealistic, which means to remain curious. It's actually one of our core behaviors of the business is to stay curious. And implicit with staying curious is also learning, is continuing to observe all those things that you can do better yourself. So for me, I'd say one of the biggest learnings, and ironically, it's if you'd asked me a long time ago what I thought was the most important thing for the business, I would have said it's about people, making sure you understand the strength that Jim has said to me a few times, the strength of the pack is the wolf and the strength of the wolf is the pack. But really understanding that it's the strength of the team and the way that the team works together, and the combination of skill sets necessary for a team to be successful. I would have spoke to that 9 years ago, but it's not a day goes by where I don't realize that even more so. So if I could go back and give myself advice, I would have sort of repeated that and said, hey, really, it's about the team. And it's so easy to say. I ask 10 founders what they think, what's the most important thing, they'd likely say it's the team. But really believing that, and then really deriving action from that in how you recruit, how you promote, how you provide feedback. When you have to make hard decisions, meaning when you have the wrong types of people in positions within the company, removing those people, how you go about removing those people. These are all things, each one of those embodies many, many learnings for myself. And of course, with that, many mistakes, I'm sure that, in hindsight, I would have approached differently, but it's the acknowledgement of how to do those things differently that then informs the future actions.
Yeah, I think for me, there's so many things. First of all, technically, I've learned a ton from RJ in terms of, the propulsion system that we have. All this stuff has been very unique to me. Our battery systems. It has been an incredible education from a guy who comes from the internal combustion world, and I've just learned a ton. But I think the thing that stands out for me most in terms of what I've learned from RJ is his ability to think 6 steps ahead. I think that's what helps make him such a successful entrepreneur. It's what helps him, be an effective leader. And I find myself always sort of playing catch up with RJ, sort of like he's already there, right? And sort of what goes beyond that. And so expanding, sort of the way I think strategically to think multiple steps ahead. We talked earlier about the Second Life work that RJ's been doing with Alex Home Foundation. But we could go on in terms of thinking through our distribution, service, whatever models as we think through the business. I think that's where I've learned a ton from RJ.